The whole point of Rocktober is to be sure that the stands don't look like this on Saturday night. The department is hoping that their creative ticket pricing and other promotions are enough to get fans through the gates. Superintendent James Backus just announced about an hour ago to central office personnel that he was resigning. Communications specialist for the district, Jason Smith, said that today was his last day and that his office is completely cleared out at this point. Her cancer was estrogen positive, so pregnancy made the tumor grow rapidly. And while that growth wouldn't normally be a good thing, Bill says it was key for her early detection. If it was a mistake, it's a pretty expensive mistake for taxpayers.
You can always say that. You know, everybody always think that education shouldn't cost anything.
18-year-old Tiana Smith says she and her friends have always enjoyed helping others, but there wasn't really a way for them to do that here. That's why she says she started Our Profound Youth, and this year the group is hoping to give 10 children in single-parent families Christmas gifts. 42 million of those travelers are opting to take road trips this Thanksgiving, while just a little over 3 million are going to go ahead and go by plane. So you can probably expect that you're going to have to deal with a little bit of that holiday traffic between this evening and tomorrow. Earlier this year, HPSD awarded educational consulting company P3 Strategies a bid for over $200,000 to help lay the groundwork for the district's new strategic plan. But when we started investigating, we found a simple math error during the bidding process that may have cost you, taxpayers, $164,000. $219,000. That's how much Hattiesburg Public Schools paid to have an outside company come in to do the strategic planning Superintendent James Backus says the district hasn't had in a decade.
It was very clear to us that we need to do that, and plus the state requires in the progress standards that a district has a working strategic plan.
6 companies submitted proposals. They were ranked and narrowed to 4.
We used a rubric to evaluate them, and then we selected.
But it's that rubric that raised questions. Our On Your Side investigation double-checked the school district's math. According to the district's math, P3 Strategies, the most expensive company, tied with the much less expensive Public Consulting Group Incorporated. Have you ever gone through the math on the rubric? When we did the math ourselves, they didn't tie.
Okay, I don't know. I can't answer that for you, to be honest with you. I really don't know the gaps that you're speaking to.
If they didn't tie, P3 also didn't win.
So based on the recommendations that came to me from my team, we had a tie. From the tie, I made a decision to recommend P3 Strategies to the board.
School board president Marcus Cathy says as far as he knew, both companies tied.
Well, I definitely don't like to get to be misinformed. That's not something that I like at all. I don't think any of the board members actually took the time to add up these these scores.
Do you ever double check that math?
I'm sure people always check math. Are you saying that we don't make mistakes? No, I can't say that.
If it was a mistake, it's a pretty expensive mistake for taxpayers.
You can always say that. You know, everybody always think that education shouldn't cost anything.
Here's the executive summary from P3's work. When you boil it down, it's 14 suggestions on how to improve the school district. So taxpayers paid over $15,000 for each recommendation.
That is strategic plans.
But strategic plans aren't that expensive everywhere. We called several school districts across the state to see what they spend, and it's nowhere near what Hattiesburg taxpayers paid. DeSoto County, the largest in the state, spends nothing on strategic planning.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's apples to apples.
We're only looking for what we needed for this district, and we wanted more community engagement.
Backus says that community immersion is the reason he recommended P3 to the board. And in that same recommendation, Backus said he knew people working in both top companies. Why did you think it was important to let the board know that you knew people in both of those?
It's always important to be upfront and very transparent. And I'm very transparent.
We also know that Dr. Backus told you all that he knew people in both of the top 2 companies.
Yes.
Does that impact how you feel about the decision at all?
We raised questions about that, and him knowing people He knows a lot of people, but he did not have personal relationships.
Backus worked for P3 partner Irving Hamer from 2008 to 2011 in the Memphis City School District.
Irving Hamer was my direct supervisor.
But Backus didn't stop working with Hamer 4 years ago. He still works with Hamer and P3 on a monthly basis.
Mississippi Education Reform Collaborative is where 5 superintendents, we meet monthly to talk about how we can learn from each other. And they are our thought partner.
P3 Strategies is the mailing address on Merck's informational brochure. There are quite a few photos of you on P3's website. Is that uncomfortable for you to be doing business with an office that then uses your photo on their website?
It's not uncomfortable to me. I'm not sure how many photos, how many websites I'm on.
Do you feel comfortable giving a almost $250,000 bid to a company that the superintendent has such a close relationship with?
We vetted that when that information was presented to us, and at the time we did feel comfortable that there was not a personal relationship and there was not an overlapping, and that there wasn't anything that would present a problem.
Even though that they still work together?
That wasn't our awareness.
Backus says the district got its money's worth, and he's happy with the decision. Kathy was less unwavering. So you're happy with the decision?
It was the decision that was made on the board at the time. You come today and present information, and like I said, I would have to vet your information, but to ask me, well, we made a decision based on the information that we had, and I voted for the proposal.
This isn't the first time the school district has done business with P3 Strategies. Our public records request showed that over $170,000 worth of other business was done with the company since it was founded just a few years ago. After our interviews with Backus and Kathy, the district released a statement on Facebook saying they conducted an internal investigation and admitted there was a basic math error. The district maintains there was no wrongdoing, saying in that same Facebook post, "We believe that any mistakes in calculation made in the vetting process were simply unintentional errors and that nothing unethical took place in the selection process."
Everyone has their Katrina story. Ours happens to be our wedding story, but everybody has their Katrina story.
For Jennifer and Todd Jackson, the 10th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina also marks their 10th wedding anniversary.
We used to joke and say that it certainly couldn't get any worse than the way it started.
But they didn't quite realize what they were coming home to.
I can remember sitting on this little step at my parents' house and literally like hand on my head, elbows on my knees, and just thinking, what do I do? What do I do? Do we cancel? Do we have it? Do we cancel? And we came up with every reason probably to do both.
Jennifer's family went into emergency wedding planning mode. Obviously, they couldn't have it here at the Cultural Center in downtown Hattiesburg like they originally planned. So instead of spending her wedding morning getting pampered, Jennifer spent it cutting her way into a park in Tylertown.
We literally had to get chainsaws and cut our way into it. Gloves and just pulling limbs, pulling trees, trying to make our way into it.
I don't know if I really thought this crazy thing was going to happen or not, but we decided, they decided we were having a wedding, so I needed to find a suit.
Todd's family friend owns a store on Main Street in Poplarville.
He helped me kind of rummage through all the damage, and luckily the suits were in a good suit bag.
Jennifer brought her dress home on a previous trip from New York.
My wedding dress had already been shoved into an overhead bin to get home, and I thought that was bad.
But that meant the dress had to ride out the storm.
My mom actually had to get the dress and continue to move it from room to room to try to keep it dry during the whole Katrina.
A bouquet of Walmart roses and tape, and a rehearsal dinner of Red Cross beef stew.
I remember thinking, how did we get here? And then it was almost beautiful too because it was so simple.
Not really typical or normal at all.
No, nothing, nothing whatsoever.
Could not make this stuff up. I was very sad for a long time, actually.
10 years and 2 kids later.
Now you fast forward, and now we have this beautiful life, beautiful kids, and I realize what's important.
It's the love of one another and family and a commitment and sacrifice and those things. And our wedding had all of those things. Katrina did a ton of damage, but Katrina could not take away any of those things.
Amanda LaBrot for 7 on Your Side.